One of the first issues in the separation process is, what are we going to do with the kids? Where are they going to live? And that's where the word custody comes up. So it's not uncommon for people to say, okay, look, we'll split up, but I want to share custody of the children. And the idea behind that is the word custody means where the children live, who has control over the children's lives. No parent wants to divest themselves of their role and their responsibility in their child's life. The children that are under the age of 10, where their voice is not very loud, and even if they could voice their wishes, people don't give as much weight to it. So usually we find the high conflict custody cases involving children from the newborn age up until the age of 10, where the children's wishes are not very vocal, certainly not very clear to understand. So for example, if a 4-year-old says, I want to live with my father, is that because when the 4-year-old spends time with dad, dad takes 4-year-old to Chuck E. Cheese and to the movie theater, but when the 4-year-old is with mom, 4-year-old has to brush her teeth or stay in bed until the light comes up in the morning? Rules and routines tend to be different depending on the sort of relationship that the child will have with each parent. So therefore the term custody becomes somewhat of an ambiguous term. What does it mean? Who gets it? Why do they get it? And that's why people fight over custody. So the word custody means, what is the physical residential place for the child? What is the child's home address? That is one part of the definition of custody. The other part of the definition of custody, which is the part that is usually the one hard fought over, is who controls the child's life? Who makes all of the major decisions regarding the child? Extremely rare in Canadian society for the kids to have a voice in the courtroom. In fact, what we've done, what the province of Ontario did was, rather than allowing children to even come into the courtroom, which is very much frowned upon, so sometimes we'll have lawyers who will have clients with their children come into the courtroom, and the judge will ask the children to step out of the courtroom because it's really not a child-friendly environment. But what we do have is we have a government office from the Ministry of the Attorney General, and it's called the Office of the Children's Lawyer. And that office is involved in cases where the children do have a voice and do have wishes. And so they assign a lawyer just to the children. So there could be, mom could have a lawyer, dad could have a lawyer, children could have a lawyer. And the job of the lawyer for the children is to go and meet with the kids at school, at home, off hours, and to come to court and say, I've spoken with the children, and this is what their position is. They want to visit with mom or visit with dad on such and such schedule, because children really are not supposed to be part of the court process. The older they are, the more weight we give their wishes. So when the 15-year-old says, I don't want to live there, we assume that the 15-year-old is saying that because the 15-year-old understands what that means. But when the 6-year-old says, I don't want to live there, or I do want to live there, what's that based on?